covering news where you live. This is 5 News First at 4.
Right now, Pope Francis still in critical condition, battling multiple health issues, and hospitals embracing artificial intelligence to identify issues a whole lot faster. Thanks for joining us for your first 5 News First at 4. A Cave Springs doctor facing sexual assault charges. He will not stand trial in Benton County after cutting a deal with prosecutors. Thanks for joining us. I'm Darren Bobb. 5 News reporter Jacob Luthi is in the newsroom now with why these charges are being dropped. Jacob?
Yeah, Darren, earlier today, Maass stood in court and agreed to relinquish his medical license in Arkansas by April 30th in exchange of what's called a null pros of the charges, essentially meaning a dismissal of this case. In Benton County, Maass was accused of 3 counts of second-degree sexual assault. Benton County prosecuting attorney Brian Sexton says that as long as Maass goes along with the terms of the agreement, this case is essentially closed in Benton County. The case stems from a complaint back in February 2022, in which a former patient of Maass claimed he touched her inappropriately without consent during a medical exam. Now, in a statement to 5 News, Benton County prosecuting attorney Brian Sexton says, quote, "We respect the judge's rulings on the evidentiary issues on Friday. The rulings had a direct impact on the theory of the case that state was going to present. Attorneys from our office notified the victims of those rulings, discussed the resolution entered into today, and agreed to the importance of Dr. Maass surrendering his license." It goes on to read that, quote, "The defendant is currently facing additional charges in Washington County, is presumed innocent regarding those charges, and has a right to a fair trial in that county." Now, in response to the prosecutor's statement, Maass's attorney, Shane Wilkinson, says the judge's rulings were very predictable, and we went into Friday completely confident that Judge Green or any other judge on planet Earth would rule the way she did. The law surrounding this case was never a mystery. There were no victims. If there were, they should have tried the case. They dismissed because they knew they had no case. It goes on to say that, quote, "He never intended on practicing medicine in Benton County again, where they may choose to arbitrarily prosecute doctors for non-criminal activity. I've told them for months he had no intentions on practicing in Arkansas again," end quote. Now, court records show Maass continues to face 2 counts of sexual assault in Washington County and is due to appear in court there next week. Jacob Luthi, 5 News.
All right, Jacob, thanks. New at 4, a Bentonville man is facing sexual assault charges. Bentonville police say Andrew Apple was arrested last week. Detectives say it all stems from illegal acts with a child. Police are also looking for more information in this case. They're asking anyone who may have had encounters with Apple or any information related to this case to call the police department. We're also getting new information from a shooting in Springdale over the weekend. It happened in the parking lot of Ozark Center Point Place Friday night. Police tell us the person who called 911 claimed someone stole his phone and then took off running. When police got there, they found the man who allegedly stole the phone with a gunshot wound in his back. The man whose phone was allegedly stolen was identified as 35-year-old Kelson Blunt from Conway. He's now facing first-degree battery charges. Former head of the Clarksville-Johnson County Chamber of Commerce due back in court in Oklahoma this week, facing embezzlement charges following her arrest in January. Elena Fletcher is accused of stealing funds from a church in Tulsa County. She's pled not guilty to those charges. Following her arrest, Clarksville-Johnson County Chamber suspended her without pay. The organization says an initial financial review found no evidence of tampering with their funds. Her husband, Joshua Smith, also facing similar charges. It's been a month since Justin Baker was reported missing out of Sequoyah County. He disappeared after the vehicle he was riding in went into the Arkansas River. Crews say they are still actively searching for him. Crews have scoured the river using sonar technology with divers on standby. The group revamped continues to support search efforts while the Oklahoma Highway Patrol leads the investigation. So far, though, no new developments. 2 other passengers recovered from that crash and are doing well after a hospital stay with no critical injuries.
Talk about an absolutely awesome Monday. Temperatures this afternoon, upper 60s. We've even got some low 70s in the River Valley. If you like today's forecast, boy, I think you're going to be in for an absolute treat. Tomorrow, likely even better. Not only do we have upper 60s, low 70s now, but the rest of this evening, it's going to look a lot like this. We'll see those temperatures slowly dropping after sunset down into the 50s before dropping into the 40s overnight tonight. But that's likely as low as those temperatures go. So if you got a little bit of snow, parts of the backyard that haven't seen as much sunshine, expect that to continue to melt overnight. Tonight in the River Valley, we'll also be dropping into the low 40s under a mostly clear sky. Could wake up to a little bit of fog come tomorrow morning. We'll track that, but we're also tracking warmer temperatures for your Tuesday. But then that's followed by a midweek cold front. What does that cold front mean for us? Is it going to get colder? Is it going to bring rain chances? Answers to both of those questions and a preview of the upcoming weekend here coming up in just a few.
All right, Scott, thanks. For the second Sunday in a row, the Pope's windows remain shuttered at the Vatican. Around the Catholic world, from Mexico to Massachusetts, the faithful pouring out prayers for the Holy Father. Chris Livesay tells us Pope Francis has been in the hospital in critical condition. He's now showing early signs of poor kidney function.
Over the weekend, what started as bronchitis became much worse. The Pope, now diagnosed with double pneumonia, required high-flow oxygen and blood transfusions after suffering a prolonged asthma-like respiratory crisis on Saturday. Then Sunday, blood tests revealed early signs of kidney failure. Serious for anyone, but critical for an 88-year-old already missing part of a lung that was removed when he was a young man. And it all comes during the Holy Year of Jubilee, when pilgrims by the tens of millions come to Rome to see the Pope appear in a demanding schedule of public ceremonies. Even if Francis recovers, he must be considering how he can possibly live up to expectations, says CBS News Vatican consultant Father Anthony Figueiredo.
That's what this Jubilee year is all about, when we're going to see 35 million pilgrims coming to Rome. So for him to be away from those people is really a great suffering for him.
Now, the Vatican is notoriously tight-lipped. However, Pope Francis has instructed his medical staff to be transparent about his health. Chris Livesay, CBS News, Rome.
While meeting French President Emmanuel Macron at the White House today, the president says he wishes him well as he continues to battle health issues. Comes as the AFL-CIO sues the federal government over the email sent to federal employees over the weekend asking them to submit 5 things they did last week or be fired. Presidential advisor Elon Musk warned it was coming, writing on his social media platform X that failure to respond will be taken as a resignation.
If people don't respond, it's very possible that there is no such person or they're not working.
But while a few agencies urge workers to comply with the email, a number of them, including the FBI and the State Department, told staff to pause any response for now. Pentagon also opted out just days after the president made major personnel moves there. Today also marks 3 years since Russia's invasion of Ukraine. As the president met with Macron, they talked with other world leaders about how to bring that 3-year conflict to an end. Erica Brown is at the White House.
President Trump says he will soon be meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky.
I will be meeting with President Zelensky. In fact, he may come in this week or next week to sign the agreement.
The Trump administration has been pushing Ukraine to grant the U.S. access to deposits of rare earth minerals. Ukraine has one of the world's largest deposits of graphite and lithium, which are used to make batteries for electric vehicles, as well as titanium. Trump says a deal would help pay back billions the U.S. has spent supplying weapons for the war.
We're, I think, getting very close to getting an agreement where we get our money back over a period of time.
While more than a dozen Western leaders gathered in Kyiv Monday to show their support for Ukraine, French President Emmanuel Macron looked to make that case with Trump at the White House.
We do share the objective of peace, but we are very aware of the necessity to have guarantees and solid peace in order to stabilize the situation.
In the Oval Office, President Trump said he's also considering new economic ties between the U.S. and Russia. The U.S. put severe economic sanctions on Russia for its attack on Ukraine, and new trade agreements could include some relief.
They have very valuable things that we could use, and we have things that they could use, and it would be very good if we could do that, I think it would be a very good thing for world peace and lasting peace.
Signaling the shifting policy towards Russia, the U.S. voted against the United Nations resolution Monday condemning Russian aggression in Ukraine. Erica Brown, CBS News, the White House.
Back here at home, a local hospital is embracing artificial intelligence in hopes of positively impacting medical care. Right now, 25% of U.S. hospitals are using predictive analysis driven by AI, and that includes Mercy in Fort Smith. Mercy Hospital Fort Smith has been using an AI software system called ADOC for about a month now. It's designed to identify critical findings like brain bleeds and strokes, pulmonary embolisms in the chest, and aneurysms at a much faster rate. Mercy radiologist Logan Bell says in the medical field, every minute matters, and this system helps them recognize those critical cases a whole lot faster.
We would click on a study and we would read it, and we would usually get things done. Probably the longest delay was just in clicking on the study itself. Whenever you have a long work list with a lot of studies and you're just trying to prioritize the ones that have been on the work list longest. But now, since we're able to click on those first, it probably has cut down what took us 20 minutes to less than 5.
She adds that early evidence already showing an 80% reduction in the timing of getting critical case information to doctors.